Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
You look great. What have you been doing?
I found Zelthy. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe the same active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s for 80 to 90% less without insurance. All of mine shipped right to your door.
Get started with Zelthy today for just $39. Call pound 250 and say keyword CARE. That's CARE to pound 250.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and I am very, very excited to introduce our guest today. They are a 7-figure business owner known as the Trucking King, and have built trucking businesses for over a decade. They own their own trucking consulting business, which is an automated trucking business offer that has been taking off like a rocket ship. He's gotten all kinds of other investments and has even started over from square one about a decade ago. His journey in the trucking industry began with nothing more than a dream and an unwavering work ethic and recognizing the power of partnership. Our guest connected with his brother, and together they purchased their first truck, laying the foundation of what would become an industry-leading business. Like many, he started at the bottom, providing that success in the trucking industry is achievable with determination and perseverance. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the owner, founder of the amazing Cedrick Leggett of Cedrick Legget Trucking Consulting. Cedrick, thank you so much for being here.
Wow, thank you so much. What an introduction.
I like to go above and beyond for my guests because you guys are giving me this rare opportunity. Like, your time is valuable, so why not just pump up the tires in the train and let's go.
That was great. Thank you so much. I am honored and glad to be here.
Excellent. Cedrick, thank you for being here. I know my audience is ready to delve into all the knowledge that you have, but first, who are you? Like, how did you get into the entrepreneurial game over a decade ago, and why did you have to restart?
Yeah, so I'll first start with myself. So I have always had an entrepreneur spirit. I come from an entrepreneur family. I grew up watching my dad and my uncle both. They were actually working jobs and doing entrepreneur things on the side. One of the first things that they did was a lawn care business, to where they would go out and cut grass for others and things like that. And we would go and help them. So I was maybe, I don't know, I think when I first started going, maybe 7, 8-ish, 9-ish, somewhere in that range. And so I learned a lot from them and a lot from that business. And so, coming from a family of business people, business owners, the bug bit me, of course. And I started myself, and then I started actually working for other companies and things like that. But would always do things on the side. Um, I've actually lost count of the businesses that I've started, that and majority of them did not work. I'm not ashamed to admit that, because that's the best way you learn. So I started a lot of businesses from going back from like age. My first business was age 16. I would rebuild um, lawnmowers and I would resell them. So, and I was like 15 or 16 at the time, and from there just started some other things. Didn't work out like I wanted to. So I started a lot of things like that. But one day what happened is I decided to give up working for other people and invest in myself. Is what I started to do, and to stop making other people rich and started working on making my own self wealthy. And it worked. And was it overnight? No. Was it a walk in the park? No, it was not. But I achieved it. And I often like to tell people, we have to get the story straight. You're looking at somebody that started over not from zero, but from negative. There's a difference between the two. So I started over from negative, and when I made it to zero, listen, I was one happy camper.
I can only imagine. Only imagine. Like, now I can finally start the business and go on. I'm not behind the eight ball. I'm not being,
Yes.
don't have these clamps on me, keeping
Yes.
me from scaling in that. My God, you must have
Yes.
been over the moon.
Yeah. So that's me. So that's kind of me before I started the business. And then my two older brothers and my cousin played a big part. They started trucking companies, they bought equipment, and for a long time they was trying to get me to come on board, and I was like, no way, no how. I don't want to drive a truck. I'm not interested in getting a CDL license. I don't want to learn. No. And for a while I turned them down, and then one day, I don't know, just they talked me into it, and I just gave in. And then I started my own trucking business from scratch, from the bottom, and got out there. I'm that person that went and got my CDL license and learned that way. I got my own truck, trailer, my equipment, and I went out over the road, driving all over to different cities in crazy traffic, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, down by the border. So I went through the trial and the error and the experience. So that's me. And then I was able to take everything that I learned from blood, sweat, tears, and experience, and I was able to turn that into a consulting business that grew like crazy and put me to where I am today, from going from negative to millionaire status. And that's how I propelled and got there. And I was able to help others achieve success also, because they didn't have to go down some of the same roads that I went down. They still had their pitfalls, but I was able to help them avoid a lot of things.
I love that. Yeah, it's true. Everybody's going through their own road. They like everybody can take the same direction or end up at the same destination, but the road that we go on will be different. But you can provide them, hey, when you come to this fork, take the left. The right's going to be a little more difficult, but sometimes you can only provide them with advice saying, I don't know which one's better. This one sounds a little easier, but you're going to have to make that decision, and it helps you learn too.
Yes, exactly.
Now, when you got into this, decided to being worn down after probably years of saying, hey, start your own trucking business from your brothers and your cousin, start your own trucking business, went through the pitfalls of figuring out everything, because like you said, you did your own, you did have some mentorish help. When did you decide, like, what was it where you're like, okay, now I'm going to shift over to consulting because I'm done being on the road 24/7?
Yeah. So first of all, what happened is, I'm gonna, again, I am a upfront, transparent person. So let me tell you the truth of what happened.
Ooh,
So
let's hear it.
even though I had those people in my life, my older cousin, my two older brothers, I did not listen to them. I'm not gonna lie. And I paid for it tremendously. I'm not going to lie. They were telling me things, and some of the things I did not believe because I was the youngest child growing up, and I was so tired of people telling me what to do. My my parents would tell me what to do. My older siblings would tell me what to do. My older cousins would tell me what to do, and I was straight sick and tired of it. So I had a know-it-all mentality, like I know it all. And they told me a lot of things, and it came true. Of course, I had to find out the hard way that it did come true. So I did not listen, and that's what got me in trouble. I'm not gonna lie, and it put me in a position to where I had to start all over from negative, along with some other personal things that was mixed in there that happened in my life and things like that. What happened is I was able to start listening and start letting them mentor me the right way. And I was able to learn a lot, and I was able to see a lot of my mistakes and the error of my ways. And that brought a lot of experience. That brought a lot of teaching, is what it did. Again, going through the blood, sweat, and tears. And so I realized and started to learn a lot of things. And one of the things that I started to learn about the administrative side, the back office side. I started to learn that because both of my older brothers, they would do majority of their stuff in house. And so I was able to learn that administrative back office, things like that. And so I'm the type person, if you let me in on something after about 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm kind of
Catching on.
exaggerating a little bit, but in a quick time frame, I can catch on very quick. So I was able to catch on very quick. And so what I did, I realized, I was like, wait a minute, I can actually make more money outside of the truck than I can being inside of the truck. And so that was the light bulb moment for me to go from driver in the truck every day to let me start consulting, educating people, training people, is what I started to do. And not to mention, you can scale that better. The training, the education, and the consulting, like you can really scale that better than the trucks. You can scale the trucks also, but not as quick and it's not as fast as the consulting side. And you can make more money, So I was able to realize that, and that's what shifted me, Phil. Like, listen, I need to get into that. And I didn't just do it overnight. What I did, I started to think about it, and I got a plan together. I worked on the plan, I laid it out, I mapped it out, and I gradually started to do it. So before I left the truck, the inside of the truck, what I did, I started doing a hybrid model. I'm still doing the truck because I still got to have income and money coming in. But what I also was doing was started to help people on the side, consulting. And what happened, I grew it. It took off by word of mouth because I only started advertising less than 4 years ago. I mean, I only started advertising 4 years ago. Before I was advertising, I mean, it was all word of mouth. Like, this person came and then they went and told their cousin, they went and told their uncle, they told their mother, they told their grandpa, it was word of mouth is what happened. And that I made a lot of money just off of word of mouth all over the United States. And then when I started advertising, that's when I learned I can really scale this to really what you want to scale it to 7 figures, 8 figures, like you're in control of that. And so I began to learn, like, I can really scale and make basically, kind of control my own pay and my income, and so I began to learn that. So that's what happened.
That's ingenious where you went through. Like, obviously, like you said, you refused mentorship, which a lot of entrepreneurs do at the beginning because they have that know-it-all attitude because they could, took a long time for me to ask for help. And let me tell you, it was very humbling.
Oh, yes.
but it's something, it teaches you that, hey, the ego isn't important in this, because money doesn't care about your feelings, business doesn't care about your feelings, business only cares about business, and money only cares about money. And when you learn that, and you learn to take your emotions out of it, my God, the world changes. You start looking for those mentors that want to help. I'm kind of interested, how did you come up with this automated trucking business model thing? Because that's intriguing, because like you said, I only know one of two ways of making money with trucks. Either you own your own truck and you're doing all the deliveries and you have that lovely lifestyle. And for some people, it's a great lifestyle they enjoy because they get to see the world. But it does come with pitfalls. If you have family, or if your social network is nearly destroyed other than truckers, or you flip it over the other side, you just own a business that has truckers. And that's a different type of headache that I don't know a lot of people would want. It's like dealing with a whole bunch of things. So this automated trucking is a very interesting concept, because it doesn't feel like it's either one of those. So what is this automated trucking business?
So basically, it's two-part. The first part, I'm going to tell you briefly how and when is what I'm going to do first. So first off, automated trucking, the name and the term only came about around 3 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. Now, we were doing automated trucking before there was automated trucking. and you know, we laugh about this all the time, but it's true. It's true. So was it called automated trucking? No, at the time it was not. Again, the name and the term only came about 3 years ago. So we had our first automated trucking client back about 15 years, close to 15 years now. So what happened, I started my business, and it was actually two people we started with. The first guy was a real estate developer, commercial real estate and residential real estate. And so he would, see us and see the trucking business. And he was like, oh, okay, look like you guys are doing good. You started your own business, blah, 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 blah. And he started being interested in it. Long story short, he wanted to start a trucking business. But again, he's in commercial real estate and residential. He can't start a trucking business. So what we did, we helped him from scratch, from A to Z. I mean, literally paperwork, truck, equipment, trailer, driver, everything, loads, back office. And what I did is I said, I can do this, because I am a believer of myself. Like, if no one else believes in me, like, I will believe in myself, and I will go and jump off of a mountain and believe that I will make it and survive. Like, that's me, kind of an example. I'm not going to really jump off of a mountain.
Okay, thank God, because I believe in myself, but that's a next level belief there, Cedrick.
Yeah, that's just an example. But I'm the type person, I jump in the deep end. That's me. So I believed in myself, and so what I did, I had an idea in my head. I said, you know what I can do? I can just copy everything I'm doing for my business. The same companies that I use, guess what? That's where I would get the loads from. The same way I did my paperwork starting up, I would go and do the same thing and do his paperwork. So, and that's what I did, and it worked. And so we started doing everything, loads and everything, and it worked, and he was satisfied. He was making money, things like that. And back then, man, we was making money hand over fist. You can still make some good profits in trucking now, but it's not what it was at one point in time. Will it come back? Yeah, it will come back. But we were like killing it back then. So it worked. We helped him with every step, and he was satisfied. And then came client number 2, a guy by the name of Jonathan. He came to us, same thing. We started with him. So you're talking 13, 14 years ago. So that was the how and the when. And so we were doing trucking automation way back then. And so speed it up, what happened several years down the road, and we kept doing it by kind of like selection. And again, it was word of mouth. Like somebody say, hey, these people over here, they helped me. I got 3 trucks. They helped me start it. And then this person would come, they got 5 trucks. This person would come with 2 trucks. And so we had that going for a while. And then the name and the term came, and what I did, I just jumped on it and capitalized on it. And that's when I got with a marketing firm and just capitalized on the name, because again, we were already doing this. And we were physically, literally doing it every day. Some of the other companies, they are good at marketing and advertising, and they had not been doing it, so they were still trying to figure it out and try to make everything work and things like that. But again, we were doing it every day, so it was easy to us, or easier, because nothing's really easy, but it was easier for us because we were already doing it. And so that's kind of what happened and how automated trucking works. And now, right, fast forward, you will have a person, an investor, whatever, comes and say, hey, I want to start a business, I don't want to be involved in it. Well, they will come, they will pay us. We would set everything up, get the driver, help them with the equipment, everything from A to Z done for you. They can still work their 9-to-5 job, or they can still manage their other business, or whatever it is they do. And we got some clients that just want to be retired. Like, I don't want to do anything, I just want to be retired. And they're retired every day. And so we handle everything for them. The loads, the paperwork, the back office, the dispatching. We manage the driver, every single thing from A to Z. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how it works. And if you got any more questions about it, just let me know.
You're helping two people. You're helping the investor come in, like, who wants to set up this trucking business, but you're also helping these drivers. Yeah. These drivers who may not have the capital at the start to buy their own truck to start things. They're just right off the gate, but now you got them driving, so they're learning, and eventually if they're doing it properly, they either can set up their own business by, talking to their owner, or they just stay and they're like, hey, I'm happy with the 9-to-5. So you're helping two people, doubling the workforce. I love it. Oh my God. And you just handle everything, and the investor either can be a bit involved or be, like you said, retired, just sitting, waiting for those checks to hit the pay. Oh my God.
Yeah. Now and we're the type company. So we welcome if someone wants to come and learn and take it and do it themselves. We have some of our clients, they do that from day one. They're like, listen, I want you to show me and I'll take it. We don't have a problem with that.
It's easier for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have some of the clients like, nope, I don't want to touch anything. So it doesn't matter what route you want to take. We will help you with either route. It doesn't matter.
I love that. And I love it because it's a new opportunity for people to grow their money passively if they want, or actively passively, because they can handle some things. You can handle whatever the relationship is with you and their driver. And obviously they can scale it by getting more drivers, creating a thing, and eventually get bought out by a bigger trucking company if they want. And then they can do it all over again, or they can start a new business and stuff. Cedrick, what is your goal in the next 5 years? Where do you want to be in 5 years from now?
Yeah, so the goal in the next 5 years is to continue to help people, and I'm gonna say, I don't want to limit it to trucking. So I'm gonna say in a leadership capacity. And what I mean by that is everything that I've learned, take that, be a leader to others, and kind of guide them, because we're working on some leadership things right now. It's kind of one of those things you're working on it on the side, kind of a slow build. It's not something that have to be done like in 1 hour next day, next month. So it's kind of a slow build. So we're working on some leadership things that we want to really expand out to the globe, the nation, the states. I mean, like really expand it out. And it's going to be based on helping people in capacities such as leadership. One, showing and teaching people how to be in leadership and lead. And also for the ones that are not interested in leadership, being a leader to them, so they still can learn. They may not want to be a leader. That may not be their desire, and it's okay. So, but guess what? You still can work with another leader such as us, and we can still show you other things. So both sides of the fence, the people that want to be in leadership and the people that may not want to be in leadership, but they still can learn from a leader. So that's why I said to help people in a leadership capacity. And to be honest with you, that covers everything. It covers trucking and it covers everything else. So that's why I don't want to limit it just to trucking, because to be honest with you, I've conquered trucking, and I'm working on the next phase to do more for people. Because in my heart, my purpose in life, I know that there's more. And if you sit on your butt and you don't do anything, guess what? My parents always taught me zero will always equals zero. So if I do nothing, why expect something? Because I'm gonna get nothing if I do nothing. So my parents always taught all of us that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at the next 5 years and beyond.
I love that. And it's a great thing. And you're already giving back. You're already showing leadership. Now you're just like you were doing automated trucking 14 years ago. You're probably already doing leadership now. You're just consolidating it into a nice little package to help people. And even the people who don't want to be leaders per se, learning from you, they'll still become a leader in their own life and be able to take this, control their life. I love that, what you're doing. And I'm very glad that we've been able to connect, Cedrick, the trucking king. I love it. It's a great moniker to have. And you have conquered trucking for sure. I do want to give a piece of advice to my audience.
Yes.
That can help them. Let's look at this leadership role. You're already developing it. So let's look at giving them a piece of advice to start stepping into a leadership role. From being an employee to a business owner where you have to be a leader. Do you have any piece of advice for my audience?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to condense it down because we don't have enough time in this podcast. So I will condense it down because I am respectful of people's time. But yes, so some advice is to invest in yourself and self-education. Those are the two biggest things that I want to give to your audience. Invest in yourself. And I want to give some examples of investing in yourself. Like, you have to do something for yourself. Don't depend on anyone. I don't care if it's your parents, your grandparents, I don't care who it is. Never depend on anyone else to do something for you and wait on someone to do something for you. If your parents and grandparents and aunts and relatives do something for you, hey, it's cool. But you can't have that mindset. You got to have the mindset, I will get up and I will go after it myself every day. And you can never go wrong. You will fail, but failure is not bad. It's good. It teaches you and it gives you experience to where you are going. I would have never made it to this status if I would have gave up a long time ago. I would have never made it to this. So you gotta invest in yourself. Some of the things I did, I paid for seminars. I traveled to seminars. I bought books. I've lost count of how much money I've spent on books. I don't even know anymore. I still buy books today on Amazon. I read. Those are some examples of investing in yourself. Saving is investing in yourself because you can take that savings and you can start a business. Don't depend on the bank. They may turn you down anyway. So start saving and invest in yourself, and you take that $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 and take part of that and start your business. So those are some examples of investing in yourself. Self-education. Listen, there's no education better. Harvard, Yale, Princeton. Look, I love those type schools and educational type things, but you have to self-educate. You can't wait on a college or a university or your parents or your grandparents to educate you. You got to self-educate yourself. Go out and learn things yourself. Internet, books, seminars, Phil's podcast filled with great information about investing in yourself. I mean, I'm serious. You got to start investing in yourself. Is so much more than just colleges and universities. And I take my hat off for people that have college degrees. I take my hat off for them, but it's so much more. You can't let it stop there. So again, two things: invest in yourself and self-education.
I love it. It's It's the best thing. And thank you very much for including my podcast in that, for the self-education and investing in yourself, because it's true. The more you invest in yourself, the more you become valuable, the more you learn, the more you can charge and go to the next level. It's unbelievable. The only reason I started this podcast was to self-educate by learning from entrepreneurs like yourself, Cedrick, because, hey, it's the fastest way. Getting 30 minutes with people who have already done stuff and you get to ask those questions. My God, my education has skyrocketed. I think I learned more on this podcast than I did in my years at actual educational institution about running businesses and just growing in life. So, Cedrick, thank you very much. I will have our final question here. It's my spark question, my favorite question of it. I snap my fingers. I have 10-year-old Cedrick right here. He's just came in from, cutting the lawn with dad and uncle. What piece of advice are you giving your 10-year-old self?
Yeah. So my advice that I'm giving to myself is get some type of mentorship. Okay. That's very important. It's two things. Get some type of mentor and mentorship, and really invest time into it. Not just to have the name and the title. You know how sometimes this is my godfather, my godmother, my god sister. Not just because of the title, like invest into it. Okay, that's very important. Giving that advice to myself, because if I could do it all over again, I would do more. Now, my dad was a great mentor. But I wish I would have went outside of that realm, because let's be honest, your parents, grandparents, sister, brother, friend, college friend, they can only tell you so much. You got to go farther. You got to go and start doing more. And one of the things that I did, this guy by the name of Dr. Miles Monroe, I got under his mentorship, started paying for seminars, books, and all type of things. And it blew my mind. I learned so much, and I wish I would have done it at an earlier time in my life, because of how it was able to help me transition. And the last thing to my 10-year-old self is knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Knowledge, get information, is what it means. Understanding is when I comprehend that knowledge and information, because I can have knowledge and information, but if I don't comprehend it and understand it, it means nothing. So, and then when I get that knowledge and understanding and I comprehend it, then I should apply it to myself and to my life. And that's where the wisdom comes in. So many times we think you can only be wise when you're 75 and 85. No, you can be wise at 15, 20, 25. And it's all about taking the knowledge, the information, the understanding, the comprehension, and applying it to yourself and to your life. And when one applies something, they have become wise in that area. I'm not saying that they are a know-it-all, but in that area, they have become wise. So that's the advice that I would give to my 10-year-old self.
I think that is amazing advice, and I love it. I'm definitely going to clip the part where you said knowledge is learning, taking in the information, understanding is actually be able to understand it, put it together, conceptualize it, and then wisdom is applying it and learning from it. I think that is an amazing piece of advice, a great quote as well. For the audience to take that away. I'm going to jump off screen here, Cedrick. I want you to let my audience know where they can connect with you, where they can start learning from you, or even become a client of yours for the automated trucking business, because that's a hell of an offer, I have to say. So the floor, sir, is yours.
Yeah, so it's easy to contact us two ways. The easiest ways, our website is just like my name, CedrickLegget.com, CedrickLegget.com, and you can see everything that we have to offer on our website, or you can go to Facebook and see everything. Go to my business page, not my personal page. There's not a whole lot happening on my personal page, but the business page is where everything is going down at, the information is at. So Facebook business page, and our website, and you will be able to schedule a call with us if you're interested in our products and our services, and we will be glad to talk with you and glad to help you. I have a team of of people that work with me, employees and things like that, salespeople, and they can take great care of you, answering all of your questions. So thank you so much, Phil.
Cedrick, I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast and sharing your story and sharing your wisdom, because you have a lot of wisdom that you've accumulated in the last few years, last decade and plus in the trucking business and in the entrepreneurial space. I can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
To my audience, make sure you check out the show notes down below, because I got all the links to Cedrick's businesses, to the Trucking King's website, and of course to his business page, so that you guys can take advantage of his knowledge, his wisdom, and his understanding of the entrepreneurial world. And I can't thank you enough. And remember to always invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.